Hey, thank you for coming by Tory Magoo 44. I love this music.
I'm going away, babe, and it won't be long.
This is October 22nd, and we are with the shocking truth on the Church of Scientology, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Scientology and Anonymous. Yesterday I had the pleasure of seeing this, which is, let me just make sure I've got it on the thing so you can see. Yeah, We Are Legion, the story of the Hacktivits. And it's at the Laemmle Theater in Pasadena. Really a good movie. The producer was there yesterday, and it was just terrific. It was great to see the movie. It's educational. It's interesting. It was fun to hear the early days of it, onto it, Scientology, what they've done afterwards, what's happened to some of the different people. It's an amazing story. It really is. If I get any of this wrong for anybody that is anonymous, please feel free to post it. If it's the Office of Special Affairs, don't even think about it, because you're not invited here. And you know that. But for Anonymous, I'm just going to tell you, I know a lot of people that were, picketing with Anonymous or are Anonymous. You know the story. So this isn't really something for you, although you can listen to it because maybe you have something to add to it. But this is more for people that came after 2008 and have come onto the scene, and you may not know the earlier scene. So I'm kind of trying to put it in perspective, and even maybe some of the Anonymous guys don't. I think most of you do. But anyway, this is what happened from my experience regarding Anonymous. And basically, if you think back years ago, before the internet, there were some very courageous people that left. Jerry Armstrong, Jesse Prince, Vaughn Young, Alan Walter, who's now passed away. But these people left before the internet. All of them were declared suppressive, which is what Scientology does. Then no one's allowed to talk to you. You lose all your friends and your family. It's awful. It really is. Back then especially it was awful because they would go around and, flyer your neighborhood and tell all your neighbors you're this and that. And people really didn't have anything to look for. They couldn't type in Scientology on the internet, so they kind of believed what the church said. And the church was always like, well, Tom Cruise and John Travolta are members of ours, so how could we possibly be that bad? They've used that line forever, and it's really not standing up. But anyway, getting back to Anonymous, okay, so those people leave. In the 90s, I was part of this thing where they asked me to open up these Anonymous accounts. This is way before Anonymous arrived, right? And I did. My best friend asked me. He was my auditor, and he said, trust me, we're just handling these evil people on the internet. And I didn't know anything about the internet, so I thought, okay, so I'm opening these accounts, and they're getting weirder and weirder and more mafia-like. And I finally think, I got to go look on the internet and see what they're doing, which they terrify members inside of Scientology, the Church of Scientology, which isn't a church. So they terrify them so that you're too afraid to look on the internet, right? So I was really afraid to look on the internet because I had seen them drive my friend, Nancy Maney, insane. Now, I didn't know until I escaped out that they actually drugged her and reverse audited her. Auditing is supposed to make you better. Reverse auditing makes you worse. I didn't know that. Bill Yachty, the same guy that asked me to open up the account, said that the internet had driven her nuts. Now, I know to people that are on the internet now, that sounds insane. But, knowing nothing about the internet and trusting my auditor and best friend, I was like, wow, these guys must be really evil, right? I'm not going to look at it. But now they'd started acting so weird, I thought, I better go look and see what they're doing. And I looked on the internet, and the day that I looked, they had baking recipes on ARS. They only had one news group back then in 2000, Alt Religion Scientology. And their view was if they could drive it down to the bottom of the first page onto the second page, nobody would read it, because very few people go from the first page all the way down to the bottom and onto the second page. Which isn't together wrong, you know what I mean? I think it's a pretty good analogy. So their thing was they would drive it down. But the day that I looked, it was all baking recipes. And in between these baking recipes were people saying, I didn't say that, the Church of Scientology is changing my words. And I freaked out. I thought, oh my God, that's what they're doing with these accounts. They're not handling the critic, they're stopping free speech. And I've always been a free speech advocate. So I was like, that's it. And shortly after that, I fully woke up, which is all under, if you haven't seen it, just type in escape, and it's got the full story of how I woke up, escaped out, etc. But anyway, that's what happened in the 90s. So now I escape out in 2000. And I left on the internet. I just said Magoo left the building. That was it. I didn't really understand how big the internet was at all. And so I was the first person who announced I'm leaving the Church of Scientology on the internet. And as a result, I had a ton of people, Scientologists and critics, were against me. Because the critics all said, she's OSA, nobody wakes up that fast. They didn't know I'd been waking up for 10 years and reading self-improvement books and all kinds of stuff. They didn't know that. They just thought it was too weird. I'd made 4,000 posts in 4 weeks, and then I woke up and I left. And to me, it just happened the way it happened. It wasn't something I planned out. That's the way it happened. But point being, Bob Minton handed me a laptop and said, start telling your story. So I did. And the more I tell my story, the more they'd attack me. The Office of Special Affairs. This went on and on and on. There were probably 5 people, maybe 10 at the most, that would speak out for years, for at least 8 years. And they were not only writing lies about us all the time, they were doing fair game, which is where Hubbard said you can lie, cheat, steal, destroy someone utterly. And they were flattening my tires, they broke off one leg off one turtle every week. Just different things on my front porch, like a ceramic turtle. And, even my friends were saying, you're getting a little paranoid. And so I called Jesse, and I said, my friends think I'm too paranoid. And he said, no. They are doing what we used to call psychological warfare. They are trying to drive you insane. Don't for a minute think that they are not. If it's weird, it's Scientology. Trust me on that. And it helped me so much. And thank you, Jesse, forever. Because you helped me so much in so many different ways. But a ton of people did. I mean, Stacy, Bob, Jesse, Mark Bunker, all the friends, Andreas, people around the world, just friends on the internet. I mean, I could sit here and just list out names forever of people that have helped me and how they have. Some people just walked into my life, helped me, walked out. That was it. But all of it has been tremendous. I mean, it was an amazing thing to find out how many neat people there are in the world. Because Scientology is a lot like the Truman Show, like I say. And they make you feel like it's just you guys are it and the rest is all, less than you, crummy, or their enemies or whatever. So anyway, here's this handful of people, maybe 10 at the most, where we're speaking out. The media is calling us, giving us a couple of sentences in any kind of media shot. Very little. They wouldn't really do the critic side. They're always telling Scientology's side. It would always twist around to Scientology's side. So finally, Scientology in the 90s had tried to cancel ARS. And that built up this huge internet group of critics who were like computer geeks who said, no, not on our watch. We didn't know anything about Scientology, but those people have a right to speak. And when I got out, I met a lot of these critics, and I was shocked. I mean, it was like, wow, there's a ton of people out here. And in Magoo Dancing in Boston, I say to Miscavige, watch out, man. There's an army out here. And it's not going to be we ex-Scientologists that bring down Scientology. It's going to be these critics, man, because they don't want the bridge. They don't care about it. So you don't have anything to really work them over on. Okay, so there's that. In 2000, and from 2000 to 2008, we're speaking out, we're getting lied about, we're getting fair gamed, crummy things are happening, right? Of course, nobody will talk to us, but we as friends are staying in touch, and of course, people around the internet are telling us, around the world are telling us stories, but they don't want us to say their names, right? And on Xenu.net, which is one of the biggest websites, on the chat board, after a while, there were some really top executives started telling their stories, but not really telling their stories, just telling stuff that happened. And you could tell these guys are high up. They know dirt. They know good stuff. They didn't want to say their names, right? And then all of a sudden, somebody leaked Tom Cruise, that video, onto YouTube. And thank you to whoever did that. Because what happened then is Anonymous, first of all, OSA, being the brilliant people that they are, ordered it off of YouTube. And all the YouTubers, kids, adults, whatever, everybody said, no, that's it. Ain't gonna happen. And you can see part of it. I mean, it's not all of it, but part of it is in this movie. And I'm going to put the link to it because there's a link to this right on the internet. I'll put it in here and you can watch it. It's a pretty cool. It's a cool story. But this part of it with Scientology was really neat because all of a sudden they make a video saying, you know, and it's an anonymous voice, and they're going to shut down their websites for 3 days, and they did. And I was kind of against hacking, so I made a post about that. They called me with, "This is anonymous," scared me to death. I was like, ah! Yeah, but it turned out it was Greg and a bunch of people, and they were really cool, and they talked to me, and we talked to each other, and with Bunker, me, them, we all talked about it, and what could we do that's legal so they can't put them in jail, because we knew Scientology is very litigious, and that's what they'll do. So I was worried about them, wanted to make sure they did something where they could be very, very, very legal on this. And we decided to do a picket. So they said, hey, we'll meet you down by the complex. We're going to see if we're going to do it. So we walk around the complex, me and this 21-year-old kid and some other people, and he says, okay, we're going to do it. Now, before that, picketing had been maybe 20, 30 people since I left in 2000. You know, that was about it, the most. Because the internet was up, people were putting stuff on the net, so I think that the need to picket wasn't as strong as it had been in earlier years when there was no access to information. So more people would come out to picket. So now, you know, it was like 10, 20, maybe 30 people at the most. So we go around the complex with this guy, and he says, okay, we're going to do it. February 10th, we're going to have 500 people here. And I'm like, 500 people? I mean, it was like, come on, give me a break. You know, I thought, okay, great. So we'll see you on the 10th. So Bunker comes to my house. We get a couple of friends. We go to the subway to take the subway into Hollywood, where we're going to meet them. Or to the, I think, yeah, the first one was down in Vermont by the complex. So we walk onto the subway, and here's like 10 guys in the black suits, the V for Vendetta masks, you know, the Guy Fawkes masks, and they're all just sitting there very peacefully. The subway is completely freaked out. You know, it's just like they don't know who these guys are. And so we're walking on, I have my picket sign, and I say, ladies and gentlemen, everything's okay. We're with them. We're picketing the Church of Scientology. And everyone's like, oh, thank God. And so we think this is anonymous. This is like the 10 guys. We figure, okay, that's anonymous. That's 10 more people than we had before. That's good. And so we get off, and we're walking from the subway on Vermont over to the complex, and all of a sudden we hit it, man. And here's these hundreds of people, mostly young people, bless their hearts, with fabulous signs in their outfits. They looked tremendous. I mean, Anonymous was in the building. Do you know what I mean? It was incredible. And I mean that as an expression. You know, they were outside. Scientology had this huge TV thing with Tom Cruise videos playing. It was just unbelievable. And Bunker and I had said, when we heard that they were going to shut down the website, we said, you know what? If Scientologists is smart, they'll just, you know, leave these guys alone. They'll be gone in a week, maybe 2. But if they do what they usually do, they're gonna hassle these kids, and they're gonna stay here forever. And that's exactly what happened. They sent private investigators to their houses, said they were with a terrorist group. You know, it was just insane, the stuff that they did. And as a result of it, Anonymous got bigger and bigger and bigger. But for me personally, it felt like if you were in an alley and you're fighting, you know, for your life, really feeling like it, and people are on the sides of the alley, and you know that they know what's going down, and they know what you know, but they don't want to get in a fight because they don't want to get beat up either, right? So they're kind of watching, and all of a sudden, you know, you're in this alleyway, and you're like, no, I'm going to win. No, you're not taking me. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, up the street comes this army of 9,000 people. And all look alike. They've all got the Guy Fawkes masks on. It's like, oh my God, I just can't tell you what it meant to me and thousands of other people. And what happened as a result of it was really history making. Because what happened after it is people that were telling us stuff on the internet, but they weren't really saying their names, came out and said, Blown for Good is Mark Headley, right? And so he put his name to Blown for Good, right? Different people that we'd known them as a net identity all of a sudden said who they were. And they wrote books. And now the media started saying, hey, it's okay for us to do interviews too. I think it was a safety in numbers kind of thing. And it was truly history changing. And I'll tell you why. Scientology to this day, now we still picket, some of us, and there might be 10 people, maybe 5, whatever. It's not a huge amount of people by any means. And I can see them snickering across the street. You know, they're like, oh, we really beat Anonymous. But you know what? You didn't beat Anonymous. You never did. You failed. And it's an epic fail forever. And why? Because those people that left the church, that are the top executives, and have spoken out, written books, done Nightline, interviews around the world, those things are on the internet forever. Okay? The information is out there forever. Even if you cancel whatever, this and that, the information is out there. And that alone, I've always said it's education that is going to bring down the Church of Scientology. It's not anything else. It's education, letting people know who those people really are. And people are really learning who the Church of Scientology is, and they don't like it. And you're right, you shouldn't like it, because they're very, very creepy. So a lot of the people in it are nice people, but they're supporting a very mafia-like organization that is running it, screwing them, ripping off their money, breaking up families, roping in young kids to billion-year contracts and not letting them out of it. And when they do let them out of them, they give them a bill for like $20, $30, $40, $50,000 for the auditing that they had. What was the auditing? It was SEC checking. What overage do you have? What crimes do you have? That isn't auditing. That's ridiculous. These people have worked like slaves for years in the Sea Org. And if you're in the Sea Org or if you're in the church, come on out, because we are having a great time. It is a fabulous time. And it doesn't matter, like I said, if you see 5 people picketing, it doesn't matter, because remember, we represent thousands. And I've said it. You know, we may only be 5 people, but if some shit happens and we need Anonymous, they'll be back. And Anonymous people have written me and said, you got that right. And I know it's true. And the point is, the biggest point is they already changed history forever. And that's the thing you can't turn around. It's like I told Miscavige for years, tick-tock, tick-tock, time is on our side. And it is. That's the way it is. Because the more people that leave, the more people speak out. The more people that speak out, the more people leave. It's like a snowball kind of thing. And there's nothing you can do about it. This snowball is so good. It's fantastic. So I just want to thank every single person who has done anything to help expose the Church of Scientology. And to Anonymous, forever, I will love you. Thank you for what you've done and how you've helped people. You may have come in here just to have fun, have a good time, but you know what? What the hell? You never know. Sometimes you never know what you're going to do that's going to change things around for the good. And you happen to be there at the right time at the right time. It's like Andreas said, I was at the right place at the right time. And so that is the shocking truth about Scientology and Anonymous. And I'm going to put the video in here regarding the movie, okay? And I love you guys. I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.